When you think about the great Italian defenders, the names that pop into most people's minds are the Cannavaros, the Maldinis, or the Nestas. But Gianluca Zambrotta, now that's a name that often flies under the radar. But make no mistake, he was one of the finest fullbacks to ever grace the game. Zambrotta was more than just a player. He was the kind of footballer who could quietly shape a match without the spotlight. A defender who wasn't just a wall at the back, but a dynamic force going forward. This man's versatility and football IQ were off the charts. Zambrotta's rise to prominence was a gradual but undeniable climb. He started off with modest beginnings at Como, a club in Italy's lower divisions, before getting his big break with Bari in Serie A. But it was his move to Juventus in 1999 that really set the stage for what would become a glittering career. At Juve, Zambrotta evolved from a tricky winger into one of the most complete fullbacks of his generation, under the guidance of Marcello Lippi. It's interesting to think about how many people forget that Zambrotta initially played much further up the pitch before being converted into a fullback, a tactical masterstroke that allowed him to use his attacking flair and defensive discipline in equal measure. One of Zambrotta's defining qualities was his ability to adapt, and boy did he do that effortlessly. Whether you put him on the right or the left, he could deliver. Need him to push forward and whip in a cross? Done. Want him to drop back and snuff out an opposing winger? Easy. His intelligence on the pitch was his secret weapon. Zambrotta always seemed to know when to time his runs, when to sit deep, and when to press. This adaptability made him a mainstay in the Juventus lineup for years. And let's not forget, this was a Juventus side filled with world-class talent. Zambrotta's peak, however, came on the international stage during the 2006 World Cup with Italy. What a tournament that was, and Zambrotta was absolutely pivotal in Italy's success. Everyone remembers the dramatic final, the penalties, and the infamous Zidane headbutt. But Zambrotta's contributions throughout the tournament were invaluable. He played every minute of that World Cup except for the final group stage game, and his performance in the semi-final against Germany, where he scored a rocket of a goal, was one of the highlights of the tournament. Zambrotta was the type of player who, when it mattered most, could step up and make things happen. In my opinion, that 2006 World Cup win cemented Zambrotta's place among the greats. He was the unsung hero, the player who didn't always grab the headlines, but was absolutely vital to Italy's success. You could say that he was the glue holding the defense together, seamlessly linking the backline with the midfield and attack. What makes him stand out for me is that he was never just a defensive workhorse. He had the skill, the pace, and the technique to be an attacking threat as well, which is why he was one of the first of those modern attacking fullbacks we see so much of today. If you ask me, players like Dani Alves and Trent Alexander-Arnold owe a bit of their playbook to Zambrotta. After the World Cup triumph, Zambrotta's career took him to Barcelona in 2006, where he became part of a star-studded squad under Frank Rijkaard. Now, playing for Barca is no easy task, especially as an Italian defender in a team built around attacking football, but Zambrotta managed to fit in seamlessly. While his time in Spain wasn't as trophy-laden as his Juventus days, his ability to adapt to the different style of La Liga football was yet another testament to his versatility and intelligence. He might not have been the flashiest player at Camp Nou, but his consistency and professionalism were undeniable. He returned to Italy in 2008 with AC Milan, and even in the twilight of his career, Zambrotta still played at a high level. His experience, his leadership, and his ability to read the game made him a valuable asset for the Rossoneri. In fact, he won a Serie A title with Milan in 2011, which was the perfect way to cap off his incredible career. Zambrotta's longevity in the game was remarkable. Very few players can say they performed at the highest level for almost 2 decades, but Zambrotta did it, and he made it look easy. Looking back, Gianluca Zambrotta is a name that should be mentioned more often in discussions about football's greatest fullbacks. He wasn't just a player who fit into one mold, he could do it all, and he did it with an understated grace. He wasn't always in the spotlight, but that's what made him so special. He quietly went about his business, shutting down attacks, launching counterattacks, and always giving 110% for his team. He was, quite simply, a footballer's footballer, a true professional, a leader, and, without question, a legend. When you think about the great Italian defenders, the names that pop into most people's minds are the Cannavaros, the Maldinis, or the Nestas. But Gianluca Zambrotta, now that's a name that often flies under the radar. But make no mistake, he was one of the finest fullbacks to ever grace the game. Zambrotta was more than just a player. He was the kind of footballer who could quietly shape a match without the spotlight. A defender who wasn't just a wall at the back, but a dynamic force going forward. This man's versatility and football IQ were off the charts. Zambrotta's rise to prominence was a gradual but undeniable climb. He started off with modest beginnings at Como, a club in Italy's lower